And what else am I doing at 2 o'clock in the morning but baking? Alright, I've been wanting to use this egg product up before it went bad. I got mushrooms. This here is my mixed fat, and it's nice and hard. It was in the freezer. I know this is really good product. There's some butter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my pastry out of mixed fat and butter. So it's going to have this a flavor of bacon and a little bit of beef in there and some good sausage that I cooked up. This is really good clarified beef renderings here. We got the eggs, which also have a heavy half and half in there. Probably put a little heavy cream in there, salt, pepper, mushrooms, onions, spinach. And then what I'm going to do is I'm about to start the onions and the spinach. I might put a little garlic in there too. I started the sausage and the bacon, so it's soft, but it's going to cook a little bit more when I put the veggies in it. Then we're going to create our pie crust. I'm going to let it sit, and then we're going to put together our quiche. All right, so I don't want you guys don't have to hang around for all that. When we come back, I've had a very stressful day, everybody. I don't like having to spend, look, I have a very short amount of time, right? And, you know, a very short amount of energy, and I like to give it to you all, and I like to write, and I'm working on stuff for my preschool right now. Me and Rabbit, y'all like that? That's cool, man. Me and Rabbit's having fun. The more I do it, the better I get in the personality of the Rabbit, and just have a hoot with kids, all sorts, you know, and give out flyers for the preschool, because I believe in it, man. If it wasn't a good preschool and it wasn't a good program, guess what? I wouldn't do it. But guess what? There's three things that you want in marketing, actually. Here, look. Alright guys, look, man. I'll talk to you for a second. Turn this off. Alright, look. See, I set the preschool up for, and I went to SCORE, and this is at Hope Community Preschool and Church. Here, I'll hold it there for a second so you can take a good look at it. Maybe freeze your screen if you want to take a look at it if you're a local resident. Okay, so I've been working together with SCORE, citizens of the retired executives, business owners. They work out of Washington, D.C. It's a federally funded program. It's a bunch of nice retiree people who come in and they give you their knowledge, and they're entrepreneurs who give you their knowledge on how to start things up. So I've gone to many of their groups, and I went to this one group when this guy was talking about marketing, right? And he was actually like telling his wife, we ain't moving to Eugene until you get the marketing idea right. So this is how he set it up. It's got to be marginal. It's got to be unique, and it's got to be different. If you can fit those three things. Now, what she wanted to do was be a child psychiatrist. So what she had to do was find something that was, all right, in her field, unique in her field, marginally different, not too much different, okay? And then, but it has to be different, okay? That's where the uniqueness comes in. So you have to weigh all these things. So what she did was did a lot of research on, this was back in like the mid-90s, on ADD and attention deficit disorder, started writing papers about it, found that there was a need for teachers here who did attention deficit disorder, and therapists who did attention deficit disorder, wrote some good papers on it, coordinated with some of the major players here in that field, moved in, filled in the, okay. So if I apply it to Hope Community Preschool, what we have is we have a unique preschool. We have a unique preschool because, one, we have a teacher who's got a master's in child's education in preschool. You don't find that much, okay? All right. Now, that makes us unique in a good way. Here's another uniqueness about us. Our director, Palin, the lady I just spoke to you about, who's extremely intelligent, is also handicapped, all right? So that gives us a special edge with the handicapped children. Now here's where we're different. We're marginally different in that we are in the worst part of town in Springfield, and we are able to cater to people who are having problems and want to help in their family. And if they check with Bill, call this number right here, all right, 541-736-0872, or call his cell phone, 541-606-6432. And if you apply and if you fit the criteria, I'm not going to say what they are right now. I want you to call and ask him. And you might be free. And that's the whole idea. So this is a good product. I went to this marketing, guys. I went there with Bill. We all got it all together, you know, but we're having a hard time getting students. We had a hard time over the summer. Palin wasn't feeling too well. And then things came back around. Bill went through something, but things came back around. We're ready to go, right? And we're ready to rock out this wonderful fall season. We just need kids. And so that's my job. So me and Rabbit have been running around getting kids. So that's where we're different, because we have this great teaching staff, right? But we're not so different. So it's like you don't come in there and there's like, you know, $1,000 a month and, you know, all this fancy stuff around. It's simple, man. There's lots of stuff there, but it's simple. One, we have a very good education staff. Two, Judy does all the home ecs. Three, you know, because it's backed by, it's not attached to, it's not taught in the preschool, but the people who are in it are part of the church. So you know there's a certain moral, ethical guideline that they themselves are going to instill by working with the children. They're not going to talk about all, you know, the preschool is separate from the church. We keep it that way, and Palin's always wanted it that way, and she's very direct about that, and she's very good about that. When you saw the inside of the preschool and all the work this young lady's done, and you realize that she's got cerebral palsy, and she's like, you know, and this is her life, and she's really, really, really good at it, you know, and she speaks to kids way, way better than, like, almost better than I do, okay, in a different way. She can teach them, okay. She can teach them and really communicate with some of the kids who are hard to talk to. And she teaches them schoolwork. I don't know if I could do that. I teach them how to play, and I teach them games. And I was a coach of a team of, you know, and I worked with the little kids the most. I told you that story. Coached the junior league disc golf team. Look it up if you know, if you haven't heard it. It's a good story. And because, you know, it's just, I got this thing with kids. I have a good time with kids. Kids, like, don't judge, and they're, you know, they're just real, and they just want to play. And since my life is kind of rough, and maybe, you know, I'm living in, you know, quieter times and it's getting worse, I should have some enjoyment around. I like having these kids around. So anyways, so that's what I've been doing. And now that thing I just told you, that marketing formula, you're going to be like, oh, okay, chef, you heard this and that. All right, so this guy worked with Ray Kroc. Who's Ray Kroc? Ray Kroc, we're going to use AP flour on this. Ray Kroc, we're going to build the crust first because I want it to rest a little bit. Ray Kroc, guess who Ray Kroc is? 3-2-1 method we're using here. He's the founder of McDonald's, all right? This guy worked side to side with Ray Kroc, you know what I mean? He worked with Charter Airlines. He worked with Breck. He works with some big marketing campaigns back in the 60s and 70s. This guy's lending us all, you know, this is his marketing thing. And it really works, you know? You just have to be able to apply it. So what I've been doing, I guess I'm going to do this by hand. Let's put a little salt in there. I want to put a hair of baking powder in there. I like to get just a touch of lift. Not too much. But we get some heavy fats in there. And I like to just have a hair of lift. Not too much. Otherwise it's weird. You have to have it like a background thing. So anyways, yeah, what was I talking about? I was talking about the preschool. So I've been playing, running around. I'm thinking about going down to the Winco. I have another idea and give a sign. Because I was telling him, you know, I almost went up to all the managers in the Winco one day before they got the single serve things and was like, you know, and I was carrying all the stuff around my arms. I'm not afraid to walk up to people. I just was in a hurry that day. And my dysfunction kind of messes with me when I want, you know. Back then, it messed with me more than now. Now I just walk up and say, what's up? But anyways, I wanted to say, like, look, man, you guys need to get more baskets. You need to get single serve. And the next maneuver is that, you know, you're going to start having chefs in your stores. Well, anyways, what I did was last week I was talking to Ron, and Ron and I have got close because one, I'm handicapped, he knows that. Two, I'm in there all the time. And three, he knows I'm a chef and I use his product, and he checks in, you know, we talk about my marathon, things like that. Now, while we've been talking, I've been smashing this fat up, see that? Into the flour, okay? And I want to leave some pretty big pieces, but not too big. And I got a fair amount of fat in here. I think I'm going to put a little bit more flour in. Just a little bit. The crust will be a little bit bigger than I expected. Keep the flour everywhere. Hey, it did pretty good. Oh, get all over the bottom. All right. So, I really like, I mean, there's been rainbows over this church and a lot of special things that have happened around this church, and I won the van for them. And I mean, I don't say I won it. I mean, it happened. I mean, there's been, you know, a whole family got off the street, you know, and a brother's up and the VA's taking care of him, and just so many wonderful things have happened in this church since I've been there. And I've been there just like over 13 months, man. Now I want to make this preschool move, and I don't know, you know, it's funny how I am about churches. I love these people, but just like I love the people at Grace Memorial, and also, you know, I got people down at Florence in the Pentecostal church where it was like crazy in Florence too. When I got to the end, there was like one cop and like two kids, one girl, my next door neighbor, Hazel Caldwell, who was 87 when I moved in, and Pastor Emery were the only people who had my back in the whole town. Everybody else was against me. And there was like a whole lot of like, wow, you know? And, but I used to go to Pentecostal church there, you know? And it's nice that I'd go back there even years later. You know, I'd have to go to court or something or whatever, you know, to tell you the truth. And I'd go back to Pentecostal church and say hi to everybody, you know, and they'd smile when they see me come in, you know. It was pretty cool because it was just, you know, when you're churching, you're churching. When people is churching, means churching. So I'm going to move this cutting board over here. You know I need to cut up my onions yet. And my table's full as a moga honky. Let's put this over here. I want to make my crust real quick. Whoa, I was sitting on the edge. And yes, I'm getting tired. But I have to be up very, very early in the morning. So I figured I have a hard time with it, so maybe I just stay up almost all night. Then, yeah. I'm feeling good right now too. So I just put low water in there. It's getting warm. So I want to do this kind of quickly because I don't want it to be warm. I talked a little too much there. Water's cold. Alright, and that should do it. That should bring it together. Put a little flour in there. I put a little too much water in that time. Alright. And there's our pie dough. Our pie crust. Okay. I could have had you down at the bottom watching me the whole time, man. But that's all I've been doing. It's just adding a little bit of what's needed. It's a little wet right now. It's a little fat wet, and it's also a little water wet. And I'm going to stop messing with this. I'm just going to push it up in the corner one more time like that. Get all the extra stuff. And boy, it's really soft. Yeah. And then, all right. So we're going to put chunk mozzarella in here and all that. We'll be back in a little bit.